Hello, it's Tuesday, I think. Pretty sure it's Tuesday and it's Tuesday chat time, Tuesday art chat. Um, as everyone knows, well, if you're new to me, you probably don't know, but um, I've been traveling around Australia a little bit, and so it is quite easy to forget the day when you don't have any, when we go to work, we have our Monday to Friday. We know when the weekends are. We know exactly what day it is. But when you're sort of traveling, it's quite easy to forget the day. So Tuesdays usually keep me on schedule. So today is Tuesday, of course. So it's Tuesday chat time. So don't hold it against me if for some reason I end up on a Wednesday or a Thursday, because it means I've forgotten what the day was. But as we've been traveling now for just over a month, and yeah, about 5 weeks or so. Hi, Jennifer. Um, and we've got about probably 3 or 4 weeks left. We're actually, it's only a relatively short travel trip. It's our first test run, really, in the caravan with me working while we're traveling, and it's been going really well. Um, but I have my art retreats in Tasmania that I run every March. I have one in August come as well this year, which the March retreats are fully booked out and have been for a while, but there is space in the August retreat. So you can just go to my Kerry Dixon Art website if you are interested in the August one. But so that's why I have to be home by the end of February to get ready for the art retreats. So hi, Odette and Di as well. Awesome, you found me. I just realized before I was starting that I hadn't created an event. My Tuesday chats usually have a Facebook event, um, but because I had those few weeks off, I'd forgotten to create new ones. So we're running every Tuesday now up until I go to Tassie for the art retreat, and we'll have a couple of weeks there that I won't be able to do a Tuesday chat because I'll be teaching. But then we'll be back on schedule. But that's not till March, so we got ages to go before then. All right. I don't know if you'll hear it. It's very windy here. We're in a place called Rapid Bay, so we're down towards the bottom of Adelaide, and about an hour and a half south of Adelaide, right on the ocean. Um, so it's really windy today, just crazy. But we're moving on today. We've been here a week. We've been here longer than we thought, and we probably wouldn't have stayed here a week, honestly. It's okay, but I've seen better. It's very dusty here. Um, but I think all of South Australia at the moment is they haven't had much rain, so it's dusty everywhere. But yeah, we've been held up because my daughter was in hospital for a week, a bit longer than expected. Um, so yeah, but she's out now. She's all good. So we're moving on. So hi Jane over in the UK. Must be very late again. I must be your late night TV viewing before you go to bed. Maybe I'd put you to sleep. Anyway, all right. So yeah, so we're down in the bottom of South Australia, and then we're gonna continue along that really coastal road along into Victoria over the next week. So it'll be cool. I'm excited. Um, I've never been in South Australia, never been down this way at all, and we're going to be doing the Great Ocean Road and the 12 Apostles and all of that stuff in the next few days, which I'm super excited about. Hi, Karen, as well, in the US. All right, so today's Tuesday chat. I wanted to chat about why it's never too late to start art. Okay, so there's quite a few. I know the people watching here from my membership. There's We're all similar age. Most are over 50, so we all started art a bit later. So not so much. I mean, this could be. Some people may never have picked a pencil up at all. So this sort of refers to them, but also people like me and probably a lot of you guys that have dabbled with art. You love drawing, love art, you did it in school, but then life gets in the way, of course. And it's not until our kids leave home or we start to think about retiring and that we can dedicate more time to our art. So, I want to embrace anyone of any age that they can get started in art whenever they want. Hi, Kath and Leslie as well. All right, so I don't know. There seems to be a bit of a myth that it's too late to start art, of course, but we all know age is just a number in art because unlike a sport or a career that have like strict timelines or you have to be at your fittest, so maybe if you want to be a tennis superstar you need to start young, but there's a lot of artists that start later, and creativity, there is no expiration date. Of course you can start whenever and continue learning until the day, like, and well, not learning but continue to keep painting until the day you leave leave this place. So there is no yeah, definitely no timeline, and I do hear it from people quite often, probably not so much that I'm too old to start, more that I wish I'd started earlier. That's what I do hear a lot. But our life, everyone has different circumstances, and sometimes you wish you'd started earlier, but you can't, of course, because usually earlier we don't have time. So, but I really wanted to make it really clear in this chat that it doesn't matter what age you are at all. So, because yeah, it's a it's it's not like I'm trying to think of the right word here. I'm trying to it's not a it's not, yeah, like I suppose it's a skill. It's not something we're born with. So you're learning. You can learn whenever. And even you see a lot of people in nursing homes and that art is so good for them, definitely. And they could be in their 90s, but to pick up a paintbrush or to try drawing, even just splashing color, it's so relaxing and so good for you that it can be anything. And I wanted to share a couple of artists here, that some famous artists that started late. I'm not going to share my screen, but I just need to have a look here. So I don't know if you've heard of her. I hadn't heard of her, but I mean, some of you probably have. Grandma Moses, and she actually started art very late in life. So she used to do embroidery, I suppose. I don't think she came from a very like astute family or anything. I think she's American, and she did embroidery. So we're talking back in the let me see what age. So 1860 she was born and died in 1961. So so she was doing the embroidery, but then as she got a lot older, I think by age 76, her arthritis made the embroidery painful. So it says here that her sister suggested that painting might be easier for her, and that's when she started painting. So that was at 76, and so she said to a reporter that she turned to painting in order to create the postman's Christmas gift, seeing as it was easier to make a painting than to bake a cake over a hot stove. So she was quite practical, and always did. I think a lot of us always do our crafts and that when we get a chance, but it's not until you start painting, I think people sometimes take you a bit more serious. And so that's what happened. She started painting, and she painted a lot about her life, I suppose. So she painted scenes of rural life from earlier days, which she called old-timey New England landscapes. So like she said, she omitted features of modern life such as tractors and telephone poles. So, but yeah, her paintings are quite gorgeous, and it wasn't. Where was it? She was a prolific painter, and she generated more than 1,500 canvases over 3 decades. So she lived for quite a while, quite an old age. Um, what did I was trying to think. So she started it when she was 76, and she was when she reached 88. Mademoiselle magazine named her Young Woman of the Year. So yeah, so she's a good example of starting very late in life, and actually, you know, a lot of us we start later in life when we're not aiming to be world famous artists in any case. But these are a couple that did become quite famous. Um, so I've got a list of a few here. I'll just rattle off a couple. So Louise Bourgeois, um, she was a sculptor, but she was 88 before she was even recognized. Carmen Herrera sold her first painting at 89. Um, Yo-Yo Kusama, you've probably all heard of Yo-Yo. She's Japanese, I think. She does a lot of the big spots on everything. So she was 60, sort of before she started to get a bit of fame behind her. Um, and Luchita Hurtado had been painting for over 70 years, but um, didn't win or didn't gain any recognition until she was 97. So, but that's what I mean. Like, not all of us are aspiring to become world famous artists, but it just goes to show there's a lot of artists that start much later in life and still get recognition. So, there just really is no time limit at all. So, let me know what I've got a few questions. I like doing the questions. I think it's good. So, what inspired you to start creating art, and when did you begin? So, I know myself. I've always loved art and always done art, and I've always done crafty things. Um, but I suppose painting, maybe creating, yeah, like paintings and more serious art. I suppose I don't know what to call it because craft is not serious. It's still a great thing to be doing. But I know myself when I was doing folk art and I decided I wanted to take myself more serious, maybe, I don't know. And so that's when I sort of moved over to actually painting. But I think when I started thinking about taking my art more serious was when I moved to the farm. So I was what's that, 7 years ago, and started thinking about the teaching side of it as well, and also wanting to spend more time. So I suppose I was 40, 47, I think, when I decided that I could actually maybe start selling paintings and that sort of stuff. But my question is, sorry, I got sidetracked. So when did you begin creating art? So all of us are going to probably say when I was like 5. I don't know. All right. So let me know if you have a standout of when you actually started creating art. Okay, so the benefits of starting art at any age. So if you already do art, then you know these benefits. So there's cognitive benefits, of course, which keeps the brain active. It improves our memory and mental agility, which is why it's so good to bring art into nursing homes. For those, especially, yeah, anyone with any brain problems or anything, it's just an amazing thing. So studies show that engaging in creative activities lowers the risk of dementia. So there you go. So get to it. None of us want dementia, I tell you. If you've, I know we've all had friends and loved ones we've probably, every one of us, I reckon, has seen someone go through dementia, probably more than one person, and it's a terrible thing to watch. And so yeah, if you can avoid going down that path yourself, definitely. That's why we're all creating, maybe. And it's so true. I know firsthand. I think people who keep their brain active with that, you know how sometimes, well, we get into that creative flow, but just activating your brain, you know how sometimes you can go through the day and you haven't really had to use your brain much at all, yet other times you do. And I know myself, it's like my brain kicks into gear, especially if you're doing sums, maths, anything that, or trying to figure stuff out, and get your brain really working. And I know, I've got friends in that whole family that um, don't don't use their brain a lot, or never did. And it's like, I do believe that dementia can creep up on us if we're not keeping that active. So even crosswords, all that sort of stuff is great. I crafted, framed, and played with everything. At 69, I had my first commission of a pastel pet portrait. Yes, there you go. See, this is great. I've still got time. Yes, you have. You retired. Well, what's Leslie got? You retired 3 years ago and reignited the spark 72 that was put out when I had to choose my exam subjects a long time ago. Art was always, I did it all through to grade 12. And then I wanted a job in art, which I kind of, I suppose, my first job was as a face painter at Expo in Brisbane. And then I became a sign writer. So it was still, some people think sign writers is very art related, but the modern sign writing with the computers isn't so much. It's all right. It's still an art job, but not as great as you may think. Maybe the older sign writers that were all hand like painted, definitely brilliant artists, those guys. But I became a sign writer when computers came in, and not it was essentially a glorified cricket machine is what we used. Okay, Jennifer, you changed careers just after 40 and added artwork into that mix at 44. I've done a lot of other creative projects throughout your life. Yeah, we all do a lot of the crafts and paper crafts and wood projects, everything. Yeah, porcelain dolls 35 years ago. One term of watercolors, started drawing etc. from YouTube in 23, then joined Creative Barn in 24, and finally retired in 24 as well. Oh, that's great. Cynthia, you've retired recently. No excuse now. Louisa, you've always dabbled in crafts like long and cross stitch, paper tile. Yep, it started seriously when you tried pastels. Yeah. Off and on your whole life during high school, then more when a group of mums got together when our own children were in high school. That's a great, yeah, it's really good to get together, isn't it, with other people, such as decoupage and folk art, then more again. I think we all started with folk art and maybe decoupage, scrapbooking, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, so, all right, the benefits. So, yeah, so lowering the risk of dementia is probably high on everyone's list. But yeah, improving your memory and mental agility, emotional and mental health benefits. So art can be a form of meditation. Of course, we all know that, reducing stress and anxiety. If you're watching this and you've never done art, hopefully this inspires you to pick up a pencil. But it really is. If you have high anxiety or stress, art is the best thing to reduce that. So and expressing your emotions through color and form is therapeutic as well. You know, like you always see art therapists, especially with kids and that, get them to draw their emotions, draw what they're sort of feeling, because they can do that better than actually putting it into words. So Denise, you started when you joined the Creative Barn at 79. Yes, that's so good. Um, and Kathy did folk art in the 90s, yep. Did a canvas for your living room. Your husband gifted you an art retreat. Nice. For your 60th, and I loved it, but never thought I could do animals. Oh, until you did my workshop. That was in Broken Hill. But as therapy for me, done art therapy with kids and ran a mobile play group called Kids Art in the Park for 5 years. Yeah, yeah. And Karen, time goes by so quickly when I'm doing what I enjoy. Yeah, 100%. That's it. That's that creative flow that everyone likes to get into, is when you just are so focused on your drawing and you just, time just zooms past. Yeah. So, all right. So social benefits: joining art groups, online communities, and workshops helps build friendships and support, which anyone in the creative barn knows that straight away. And also, I see it in my art retreats a lot. Not everyone, there's a few that are in the membership, but not everyone is. And but they all, like, we, one of the groups last year, we do a WhatsApp chat at the art retreat, which I have to get everyone into that again. But one of the groups, Odette, you know who I'm talking about. They don't stop talking. They've been chatting. That was last March, and it's nearly time again. And it's just formed a great, yeah, little, their own little group that they all sit and chat. There's what, 10 in the WhatsApp, and all keep up. They all drop into each other's houses if they're heading that way. Yeah, amazing, amazing stuff. So yeah, social benefits, of course. Art is just an amazing thing to do with others. So it's a great way to bond with family, whether painting with grandkids or sharing creativity with friends. I've been here, we've been doing rock painting. So at this beach, it's called Rapid Bay, but I suppose it's sand, but it's more of a rocky beach. But they're all those perfectly smooth, round rocks that you would normally buy for rock painting. And so yeah, my daughter bought a set of acrylic pens for the grandkids, and we've been doing some rock painting, and then you leave your paint, your rock, for another child to come and collect, of course. A friend of mine, Liz, who's in the membership as well, she was right into her rock painting when I first met her, actually, and she did me a beautiful rock painting of one of the sheep I lost, my favourite sheep, in the floods. So yeah, it's such a great. It would be put down as craft, but some of the painting is painting on the rocks, and they're absolutely beautiful. And but it's such a great thing to share with the kids. And my son-in-law, he had a go at it as well, and he was doing it for ages and just creating patterns on the rocks. And I don't know that he's done a lot of drawing or anything before. And yeah, he was saying how great it was, just to relax, and the therapy of rock painting. So it can really be anything, of course. Oh, I've got an itchy nose. Hold on, I'm just looking at these comments again. Odette the 18, that's it. Couldn't agree more, Leslie, with the benefits of Alzheimer's that art brings. Chaired the local branch of Alzheimer's and experienced firsthand the joy art brought not only to those sadly with the disease, but also the carers. Yeah, it really, I don't think there's anything quite like it, is there, that can do that. So, and Louise, you did the rock thing with your son as well. Yeah, art just frees the soul. It so does. Chloe, hold on. Never had any interest in art in school. Found your creative side in the last 5 years. Never drew animals or anything before the creative barn. You should see Chloe's work. If, like, she's amazing. Been card maker for the last 2.5 years. Really enjoying that too. Oh, that's awesome. Yes, considering Chloe only just started a few years ago, her art is beautiful. And we all then we can branch off into so many things. It's a never-ending amount of things you can do when you draw. That it's all creative and it can branch everywhere, can't it? And the ideas can just keep coming as well. The more you get into it. So all right. Physical benefits. So fine motor skills improve with practice, and we all know that the more you draw, the better you get. So it's great for those looking to keep dexterity in their hands as well. And it's a seated activity that still engages both the mind and the body as well. So there's some physical benefits there. Leonie failed art in high school. How about what I did? How about MIK? Any rock painting or just throwing? Throwing rocks. Well, that's true. My grandkids like to throw rocks. One of them hit me straight in the face the other day. Gave me a fat lip. All right, Julie, you've always been interested in art and crafts as my mother over the years, on and off with different community workshops, but really took off when you found me. It's funny, hey, all my kids love art, and I suppose they've grown up watching me draw when, after, once they're all in bed, we're all in bed, or after dinner, that's when I'd go and do my art. And even my crafts, I'd sit on the lounge room floor with scissors and paper and glue and everything all over the place. So they've always grown up with me doing stuff, and they all love, they're all quite sort of crafty and like to draw themselves, but none of them have, like, it's a bit like I was, I suppose. They've all got jobs that aren't art related. My middle daughter, was a makeup artist for a while, and she does face painting and that, so she's probably the most. But I do feel later, once they probably get to my age and have a bit more time, they might get back into art then, maybe, because I know they all love it, but just don't have time to do it, I suppose. All right, some of you guys have already answered this, but have you noticed any mental or emotional benefits from making art? So who was it? Leslie already answered that one herself about the Alzheimer's. And also maybe how has art helped you in ways you didn't expect? So maybe pain relief, or pain management, mental stress relief. I had one student that she was doing the art because she had really bad back pain. That medicine, it took the edge off, but it was always there. Whereas she found if she was drawing or painting and got into that, that creative flow, she forgot all about her back pain. So that's why she was really doing her art. So things like that. I'm sure you all have reasons that you take up art, but you don't realize until you've started doing it more and more that there's all these other benefits that come along with it. So all right, overcoming fear and self-doubt. So I think when you're first, like for a beginner, that can sometimes, someone starting art later in life, if you've never really picked up a pencil or anything before, I think there is a fear. And I think, it's self-doubt, of course, and it's that fear of not being good enough. And I always say, good enough for what? And we're our own worst critic. So there is no, what you're not, I don't know, you're not being good enough is not a, I know we all go through it, but it's a silly thing because, we get scared, I think, to start because you compare yourself to experienced artists. And I always say that everyone's got to start somewhere, and you can never, we always do it, we compare, but you shouldn't compare, only to yourself. So art is a skill, not a talent, and you can improve at any age with practice, of course. So that I think that can be crippling for some people to start anything new, especially if you've got maybe family or husbands or wives that can be quite critical and criticize you know, or you may have grown up with a lot of criticism and, you know, it's kept you a bit, you know, not striving for anything new, which, okay. So, yeah, so that whole self doubt is terrible. Louise, you do art for your mental health, where it's just me in your happy place. Yeah, mentally on high. When doing your art, yeah, who need drugs? That's so true, actually, because yeah, you are sort of on a mental high, aren't you, when you're doing it? So art doesn't. I suppose we have to get in this mindset. Art doesn't have to be a masterpiece. It can be fun. It can be for relaxation, and it can be just personal expression. So um, I think also maybe because I teach realism, and that can be very hard and very daunting, and there is like you're trying to get it to look real, whereas if you're just starting, maybe that's something that you can strive to, but just putting pen to paper and having a go and just even just doing making some color splashes and some dots and pretty patterns and all of that sort of stuff if you're first starting out, because I think sometimes, yeah, if especially if you want to draw a realistic animal, that takes time and it takes practice and it takes learning the techniques. um, so that can sometimes put a lot of pressure on people, I suppose, if they're first starting. And the idea of art is you don't want any pressure on yourself. You just want to start. So if you're like at 70 and you've been putting it off, but you've got the time on your hands now, you just, yeah, even that doodling, that Zentangle, rock painting, anything I think is just great. A craft is a really great way to get into it to start with, especially. Just, yeah, getting you into that whole creative thing. So I'm talking about people that are completely never done it before. So, um, and of course, yeah, like I said before, it doesn't have to be the masterpiece. You don't have to show anyone. You can just start and do it. And until you actually do a drawing or start being creative, you don't understand the benefits of it. Of course, where everyone on here talking at the moment in the chat, of course, have all been doing art for a little while now, and they all know the benefits. But if you're watching the replay of this and you've never picked up a brush or a pencil or anything, I definitely encourage you to start because you'll soon see those benefits. Some of the most valuable artworks in history weren't technically perfect, but they had emotion and storytelling behind them. So I do mention that a lot in the membership. We talk about story is what sells your work, but it also, yeah, it just brings meaning to it more. So it's something to always think about. And I was looking at some of these artists that had become more famous later in their life, and I can't remember his name now, but there was one, and he didn't start painting. I think he was in America. We're going back a long time. He was a slave, like in America there for many years. So I think he was like nearly 80 before he started painting. And his stuff is very naive. Like it reminded me a lot of some of the rock paintings you see, like Aboriginal rock art, where like you can tell it's a dog or a type of animal, but there's not a lot of detail or anything. And that's the sort of work he was producing. But it was about, again, I think some of these artists that become more famous later in life, that start late, they're painting their childhood, like their memories of what they grew up in, and so it doesn't have to be, yeah, perfect. There's a lot of emotion because it means so much to them, and they're painting their history and the storytelling behind it. As long as you know, like, oh, that he's talking about a dog there or something, then you can tell the story, and that's what sells. So you don't have to be a realist, perfect artist in that regard, as long as it has that story and a meaning behind it. So, yeah, Vincent van Gogh, or Van Gogh, Louise, yeah, he had a lot of mental issues, I think. And he didn't actually, yeah, start, like, you'll read, if you look up artists that started later in life, there's quite a few that they say, like, he was one that was later, but they've always dabbled in art, but I suppose taking it more serious later in life. But I want to try and get the point across here that you could be, you know, over 50, 60, 70, 80, never picked up, like never done art, and still get into it as well. So Chloe's recently started playing with watercolors, and it's been really freeing, not worrying about the detail or what the outcome should be, like you were with pastels, because you were quite hard on yourself, Chloe. Your stuff is amazing, but yeah, sometimes because Chloe kind of started more with the realism, and yeah, that can be quite hard. And I know myself, um, I love to just do sort of more abstracty backgrounds to my work, because it is that whole throwing the paint around and not knowing the outcome is really freeing. Hi, Lynn, you're not late. It is fine. So yeah, so definitely, if you're feeling a bit stuck, then maybe start playing with some different mediums or different techniques, things like that. Where am I? I've totally lost my notes. Um, so yeah, art doesn't have to be masterpiece. So storytelling, start with play, not pressure. So exactly what Chloe just said. Try new mediums. Sorry if that background noise. My husband is using a drill straight outside. He cannot be quiet for 1 hour. Seriously. Every time I do a live, it's like he just has to come and make some noise. But anyway. Um, so start with play, not pressure. Try new mediums, experiment, and let go of expectations. So emphasize joy over perfection. Okay, so allow yourself to create without judgment. So that is exactly like what you said, Chloe, about playing with watercolor, because you started, and I think I get um, a lot of people are starting, especially like Bonnie Snowden has the huge colored pencil community that she does realistic animals as well, and Jason Morgan, and you know, there's a lot of artists teaching realism um, in pastels and colored pencil, and a lot of people are starting with that. Like I find, especially with colored pencil artists, they start with coloring books. You know how nowadays you can get the most beautiful coloring books for adults, and a lot of people start there, which is brilliant to get started if you like the more like detailed, realistic type of look. Then colored pencil coloring books for adults are a great way if you love that really fine detail and everything. But because so many are starting that way and then moving into doing their own pet portraits and all of that, there is a lot of pressure for it to look real, and realism is quite hard to achieve. It doesn't just happen in your first drawing. It takes time to learn those techniques. So yeah, for people starting, I think in that way, learning realism first off, I would encourage all of them to just go and experiment and play with other mediums and play with colors, and just yeah, it'll take a lot of pressure off, and I think you find you can get into a real creative flow state when you're just watching colors mix and that, and watercolor is so good for that. And yeah, you know how you see some of the reels and that on Instagram that go viral are usually just people adding watercolor to like they've got water on their paper and then the watercolor just spreads. And I know we can watch that over and over again for some reason. I think it's just so nice. Louisa, I love watching Louise Numina do her Aboriginal art. Yeah, that would be cool too, actually. The dot art, or I don't know. I mean, I know we all associate dot art with Aboriginals. I don't actually think it originated. When you look back at the first drawings, um, dots aren't really in those, but it's become known. But I do think, yeah, doing dot painting would be very therapeutic, because just adding colors and doing the dots and all of that would be amazing. And yeah, it'd be cool to watch too. Just those repetitive things we all seem to love, and you can tell by what reel or what little short video goes viral on social media is what everyone loves to watch. Um, Cynthia, you love doing the watercolor and urban sketching. Yeah, when there's never a wrong line. Sorry, the whole van is shaking with the wind. Oh my god. Um, yes, and it's just finding time for all of it. Well, didn't you just say you've retired now? So you should be. Even being retired, you will not find enough time. I'm kind of I do art as my business, so I say I'm semi-retired because I still need to earn money. But I've got all day every day to do art, and I have a list of to do like you wouldn't believe, of just different ideas that I want to do. So yeah, there's never enough time, but as long as you sort of, tick them off and get some art done every day, I think you're doing good. So all right. Here's a question. Have you ever let fear hold you back from starting something creative? Um, or maybe what's something you've always wanted to try in art but you haven't yet? Um, but yeah, fear can be a big one, and especially for those wanting to first start. You hear it all the time. I can't draw a stick figure. Every time I have a market stall, I get people that come up and go, "Oh wow, your art's so good," and I say, "Well, I teach." "Oh no, I couldn't draw a stick figure." And I'm no, like, yeah, I can't do that. And it's like everyone can do it, but people just get in their heads and think, "No, I can't," and they won't give it a go. But I know every single person would benefit from doing something creative. All right, where am I? All right, so here's some ideas for how to get started without feeling overwhelmed. So, of course, start small. So, this is where I was saying maybe don't go straight into a huge, realistic lion portrait or something. So, start small. Begin with simple sketching or doodling, or a small project like a rock painting. So, yeah, no need for a full blown, huge canvas or anything like that. Colouring books, like I said, are a great way to start as well. Odette, your motto is awesome. Never give up and never surrender. My motto is do things scared. Lynn, you don't have much fear. My family says I tramp into places and things where angels fear to tread. Well, that's brilliant. The fear's not going to hold you back in any way, Lynn. Procrastination is my nemesis when I'm thinking about cleaning the house. I know it's gone too far. Oh my god. It is, and we do. I quite often will put, that's why I have my studio in the garage, because if it's in the house, you're like, oh, I gotta clean those dishes, or I need to put that washing away, or I need to do this. If you get all that out of your vision and lock yourself away somewhere, then but then you start cleaning your art studio, I suppose. So procrastination's shocking. I go through it quite a lot. I always get sidetracked. So all right, use what you have, so no need for expensive supplies. So start with a basic set of pastels, if it's pastels you want to do, or even just a pencil. You can get started with graphite. You see ballpoint pens. A lot of people are doing amazing ballpoint pen painting or drawings. I suppose that'd be classed as drawing, maybe. And like I said, yeah, some artists just start with a colouring book or rock painting, and I started with folk art. So yeah, Jennifer, do things scared, definitely. So you could follow a guided approach. Sometimes that helps as well, of course. Then that eliminates that whole blank canvas fear. So take beginner friendly tutorials, join a class, or participate in an online art community like the Creative Barn. Um, and make it a habit, even just 10 minutes a day. I think consistency matters more than the length of time spent. So if you can get consistent at 10 minutes a day, then you'll gradually you can probably push that out to 20 minutes a day. And you'll find the more you do it, you'll lose track of time and it will push out naturally anyway. But I think to start, you need to make yourself sit down. And so this is where I'm talking to people who haven't really done much art before. And I get so many people say time management is a huge problem for them. So we all have 10 minutes to spare a day. 100%. Everyone has at least 10 minutes. You can stop watching Netflix maybe, or, we can find 10 minutes a day. 100%. There's so many things we waste time on. So you could keep a small sketchbook by your chair, or sketch during TV time. It's not really something I could probably do, but I do know I've got a few students that do that. That's where they find they have the most time. So they'll sit when they're watching TV and start sketching then, which is great. I know Odette draws while they're driving, so I can't do that. I get car sick, so there's no way I'd be able to do that one. But what a great way to kill some hours of driving, would be brilliant. So yeah, I used to have my art time after kids went to bed. And I was on the kitchen table or the dining table, but there's too many distractions with TV and stuff. So I have to set myself aside. I get distracted too easily. So, yeah. So, no. So, a habit is what you need, definitely. And also let go of the idea of wasting materials. So, remind yourself that every piece you create is teaching you something. Okay, so it hasn't been a waste. Even if you don't like the outcome, you haven't wasted your bit of paper at all. And I do get told that a lot. So many people say they won't buy the Pastelmat paper for pastels, and pastels you need the right paper. It's very important. And I'm not saying Pastelmat is the only paper, but I hear so many people say, "Oh, it's too expensive, so I bought this paper instead," and that is so frustrating for them, because they can't get the outcome they want, and it's not a waste, because first of all, if they're using the right paper, they're going to have a better outcome. They're going to be prouder of what they've done. They're going to have an easier time doing it. It'll probably be quicker. And Pastelmat, especially if you can wash it off and reuse it, and not that pastels are forgiving, so you can fix pretty much anything anyway, but even if you absolutely hated it, you can wash it off and go again. So that's why I've always, even my kids, I've always, especially not like little kids, but I've always made sure the brushes they use are decent brushes. I'm not going to buy $100 brush for them, but I'm certainly not going to buy like the 10 pack for $1 and the bristles are all like that. So how can you expect a decent result? And I feel the same with kids as well. So even when I do teach my workshops, we're using I supply the best quality papers, the best quality materials, because you especially for beginners, you need to give yourself a good head start. And yeah, so anyone, like, you got to get out of the idea of wasting materials, because yeah, using good quality, you're going to enjoy it so much more, and you're always learning. Everything you create is a learning process. You've learned something from it. Okay, so yeah, definitely get out of that mindset. Um, all right, if you're, here's a couple of questions again. If you're just starting or restarting, a lot of you guys probably aren't in this boat here. Um, what's one small step you can take today if you're just starting or you're restarting to get yourself into it? But I know all of you guys on here, I think, on here live are already doing art. But if you're watching the replay and you are just thinking about getting into art or restarting after, maybe you did art, loved art in school, and you're now retired and you want to get back into it, then what's one small step you can take today to get you back into it or get you started? So, and another one is, do you prefer structured learning? So, like courses or memberships, like the Creative Barn, or do you just prefer playing and experimenting? Um, so, everyone's different. Like, not everyone likes structure. Some people just like to get a canvas out, get some paint, and start throwing it around. So, and there's nothing wrong with any of it. Any art is good art. Okay, not all art might be what you like or what I like, but any art is good. Okay, so it's just a different of opinion of what our taste is, but yeah, it doesn't matter. It's all good. Okay, so just final thoughts are, there is no age limit on creativity, so that's the main thing I wanted to get across today. So definitely want to encourage you to take your first steps if you've never done art for a while. Because anyone who says they've never done art ever, I don't think is true, because we've all done art. That's the first thing. We learn to draw and paint and all the rest before we learn to write and learn a language. Okay, so we've always, kids start with creativity, it's just how we are. I don't know, and then we lose it. We get it knocked out of us, I think, through school, and then we come back to it later because we loved it so much as kids. So, yeah, so um, let me see. So I would challenge you to take 5 minutes, maybe tonight, or like I said, for those already doing art, you already are into it. But if you never have, maybe um, just take 5 minutes to do a doodle, or just have some play. Try a new color combination with, if you've got paints and stuff, or do one coloring page, or just set yourself, if you're struggling to get into it, set yourself a little challenge to maybe do a doodle every night or something like that. Okay. Let me just see here. I did want to mention, for those that are just starting or getting back into it, that in the Creative Barn we have a full module on drawing fundamentals. So that's designed for those getting back into art, or who do art, but a bit like me, I didn't go to art school, essentially. So I didn't really learn the fundamentals. So that's there, and especially for beginners, it's a great way to get back to get into art, because they're small, like exercises. Like, a lot of them are 15 minutes is all you probably need, and you only need a pencil and maybe a rubber. But yeah, it's a good way to get into it. Even if you're feeling like you've lost your mojo a bit, maybe going and doing a fundamental lesson is a good one to get back into your art as well. But I also wanted to mention as well, which I need to put this link in the chat. Let me just copy that. I already have the link in the chat about the Creative Barn membership. The doors to the premium tier are closed at the moment, but the essentials tier is open. And so if you think you need some more sort of some structured lessons and that, then the Creative Barn is open there. So the link's there. But I've also just put a link to my YouTube where I have some drawing demos. So they're in real time. So and they all have like usual. I think they all have a supply list as well and the reference image. But yeah, if you can't find what you're looking for, just message me or email me. But I've got about 5 or maybe 10 drawing demos on YouTube that you can start with and see sort of what my teaching style is, and if you like it, and then you could then join the Creative Barn if you want further sort of art lessons. But there's one I would recommend if you're first starting and you don't really have any supplies. All you need is a graphite pencil and maybe a rubber and maybe a bit of a blending stump. They're all very low cost, but if you go to that link in YouTube, it's a playlist, and there's one, it's a graphite snail in graphite, I think it's called. And it's only small, it's about 10 centimeters square, and I teach you how to draw a snail in graphite. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, you could do it in a sketchbook. You don't need any special equipment. You've probably got a couple of lead pencils around the house. So it's a good one to maybe have a go at and see if you enjoy it. Okay, so that is it for today. I just want to share those links. Yep. And also, I want to encourage you to share if you have a friend maybe who's thinking about starting up but has been, worried that they can't do it or they're too old or whatever. Definitely share with them about this chat. Send them a link to it or whatever and get them to have a look, because hopefully it might encourage them it might be that little push they need to get into it. Okay, and next week I wanted to talk about, because I know kind of following on from this a little bit is art supplies, like what you need to get started can be a little bit confusing or intimidating. You go into an art shop and, like, to us who do art, it's like a lolly shop. We love it because we know pretty much what everything is in there, and it's just the best place to be. But for those that don't know art very well or are just starting, it can be really intimidating walking into an art shop and seeing everything. You're like, wow, I don't even know where to start. So I thought next week I could talk about choosing the right materials for hobby artists or beginner artists sort of thing. So, okay, so that's what we'll chat about next week. And yeah, that is it. I'm going to close my notes. Make sure I've answered any questions. Structured learning. Oh, that's right. That was my last question. Structured learning. Odette loves structure but enjoys chaos. Structured learner for Louisa. Otherwise procrastination. Actually, you know what? I think I'm with you with that one, Louisa. I think, yeah, if I'm left to my own devices, then I get procrastination and yeah, don't do anything. So yeah, if I know, that's why I have a list. I give myself to-do lists all the time, because if I don't, nothing gets done. So, all right. Thanks for joining me, guys. I know it's been an hour, so that's not too bad. And yeah, I'll see you all next week. For those in the membership, hopefully I'll see you at Creative Play tomorrow, and I'll be in a new location. And yeah, have a good week, and yeah, try and get some creativity in there. Try and get some sort of drawing of some sort. And I'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.